Good morning, everyone. We get started with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Gary, would you prefer?
Father, we thank you for the opportunity to do the business county together today. Pray you give the commissioners guidance and wisdom as they make decisions for the county. We ask you to watch over our employees as they work and succeed, and pray that you continue for your blessing out.
I've read the minutes, and I make a motion. We approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You get the payroll. There's some bills.
Make a motion, we pay the bills in the amount of $889,846.20. That's my motion.
A second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I've got the sheriff's monthly fee report.
Sheriff's monthly fee report is $2,575.
What are you gonna say?
We don't make a motion on that.
Nah.
That's the money she gets out of the motor vehicles. Oh, so I think typically we'll do a motion to.
Motion to
We do?
accept. Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the sheriff's monthly fee report.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Total prisoners, 22, released 5 this past week. In-house, 20, farmed out 2. 911 calls, 134. Total jail contacts not available. Total calls for service, 332. Total civil service papers served, 14. Bin inspections, 25. New cases open, 9. Cases closed, 6. 2 vehicle crashes. Bailiff activities, 42. 8 livestock out.
I do have a couple of resolutions today. One is for retiring call sign 9203. And the other is for stop signs at a couple intersections. And I don't know, Gary, is there any, we need to go into a little more detail on those? Anything or?
Unless you have questions, I mean, the stop sign one is, for north and southbound traffic on Iliff Road at 2000 Road. And also for north and southbound traffic, or for northbound traffic on Inman Road at 2000 Road. That's a T intersection there. And so these are clearly the least traveled roads of the two in the crosswise. And so I don't have, do you have a number for that one?
That one is 2022-25.
Okay.
And then the one on the fire number is -24.
Okay, so if you have any questions about either one of them, we can address them, but otherwise, just motions to pass those separate resolutions would be in order.
And I've got ones for signature here if you're ready for that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we pass resolutions 2022-25 and 2022-26, those resolutions.
24.
24 versus.
And just to be clear, the resolution 2024 is one retiring
The radio.
Josh's call sign.
Right.
I'll second them. Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I'll have some budget stuff when we get to that point.
We probably want to talk about the health department budget a little bit while Missy's here, but I don't have anything else I need to get into right now.
AMR?
Good morning, Louis Aloy, AMR Operations Supervisor. Week's been a little busy. We did 32 calls this week, 2 out of Blue Mound, 6 out of Lysine, 6 out of Linn Valley, 3 out of Mound City, 12 out of Pleasanton, 3 out of Prescott. In the last 4 days had really pumped up. Been very busy in the last few days with the long weekend and the heat. And the heat's going to continue.
Air conditioner working good?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Crews do report the air condition at Station 2 is working, and whatever the glitch was at Station 1 has been fixed. Very much appreciate it. The only bright side is the crews did have a cardiac arrest save about 3 days ago. Kind of a bright note to all the dark notes we've had lately.
Good. I don't have any questions.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Randy?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Warren?
So the paperwork I gave you is actually a 2-week total. I did not give you numbers from last week, so numbers for this week is 2 weeks. We had 23 incidents over those 2 weeks. Brings our yearly total up to 279. It's been pretty busy the last 2 weeks for us. So,
You guys have anything?
And I think before Randy gets away, we're gonna want him and Gary to have probably a quick executive session for some legal issues.
Okay. You want to do that now, or
Whenever we need to, but
we can get him out of here if you want to? He needs an quick executive session.
I'm here until 10 because of the walkthrough.
Personnel,
They're doing
this is
final walkthrough there.
So then, okay, he said he's gonna be here till the end, so, okay.
okay,
We won't make you suffer that long.
there's no problem. Thank you.
Let's see. Missy, you got a special time? You want to come ahead now, or I guess it's 9:45?
You're not bad.
Okay. You have something, Richard?
Waiting for, we got time, 10, let's change it.
Okay, you're with the rezoning, with the zoning?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I guess Mike's around there. I don't think Jessica's here today.
I did have one other thing that Joyce gave me this morning, if you want to go ahead and take care of that. There is an audit being done on our transportation program. And one of the things they need is a signed copy of our employee assistance program, which we already have in place, but she didn't have a signed copy or one with the current date. So she's got a form here that they're wanting for the audit for the three of you to sign on. That you've reviewed and concur with the contents of the employee assistance program. I don't know if you want to read through that as we're going and take a look, but there's no change to it. We've had this.
We need a motion, anything, nothing, or
We'll probably will want a motion to sign it whenever you're ready to do that.
you guys got any discussion?
We've signed off on it before.
We have, it's the same program we've had in place for several years. It's just they need a new signature page for the audit that's been done.
I'll make a motion that we approve the employee assistant program for the, what is it,
The public transportation.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mike, you want to come ahead?
Mike Nation, District 1 foreman. Getting our semi back today. They called Friday, it was done, so we're picking it up as we speak. Got the Red International running. It was a loose wire or a fuse. He don't know which one because he did both and then it started, so,
We did it ourselves, or?
yeah,
That one we thought was messed up from last week?
yeah.
Which one was it? Yeah.
Yeah, the International, yeah. And
Back from,
I got,
back? Is this to us?
we got Showalter done.
Yeah, of course.
It was Rick's, one of Rick's projects up there for Randall. We got it done last
You did?
week. Yes,
Thank you, sir.
yeah. It turned out to be a bigger project than what we thought.
It looked like a mess when it was
Well,
flooded.
yeah, I don't know. That thing never had a chance of working from when the tube was put in. I don't know. Cause the water all
Tube
run.
plugged
back-
up, or
Huh?
tube plugged up?
Well, it was too deep and then the water from the north was running south.
Yeah, on the east side, the road was a little higher than the road, so it ran in the road and then down the guy's driveway.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully it's fixed.
Thank you for that.
Need a
Sure
good
you'll
rain
appreciate
to
it.
check it out, but that's all I have for you today.
While Mike's here, I've got this Radcliffe Road situation. I think we've got this ironed out. I wanted to go over with it. Mike's, I've gone over with him, but I want to have his expertise available. There's two things I'm giving you here. One is the agreement, and then the last page is a little map showing the location. There had been a question or two raised about whether, when they got this dike constructed, whether they're going to be current washing out the railroad track. But we've determined that that's not, for several reasons. First of all, you see on there, the dike ends quite a way short of the railroad track. There's a good distance there. Secondly, now they told me that the river runs left to right on this map. I don't know, Mike thinks it runs the other way, but that's, if it runs left to right, the current's going to be flowing away from the dike.
I'm pretty sure it runs.
It's the other way.
Okay, well, I couldn't see on the map how it could run left to right, but that's what they said. But anyway, that's beside the point. The second thing is, before you get to the railroad track, there's a road along there. And that's what we're going to be washing up against, is that road, not the railroad track. Third, down here on the south part of that little triangle section, against that road, the railroad has a large tube in there to carry water away, kind of to direct the water into the south. We're going to put a couple tubes under this road, plus there's a tube in the dike, if you can see that where it says field drain. And so we're going to be running water out of that. It's not going to be any current against the railroad. It's going to be against the road. And so we have agreed in this agreement to riprap both sides of the portion that we're raising. We're going to do a paved surface on the road. So Mike, I guess, what questions do you have about this? What questions do you have of me?
Have you seen this? Okay. Do we want to mention that in there though, Gary?
Mention what?
Whereas the Linn County has asked Getter to consent to movement of Ratliff Road
You want to mention which part?
on the railroad part. Is the
The-
railroad on there? We didn't determine it. We're not determining that it won't flood, are we?
No, we're not saying it won't flood,
Okay.
but the fact is, it's not the railroad it's going to flow against, it's the road it's going to flow against.
Should we even say that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good.
don't think-
I didn't want to.
No, it's not in there. No, we
right.
didn't, it's not addressed at all. We're not making any
I
determination.
didn't read it and I read it, but I didn't see that in there. I want to make sure I didn't overlook something.
Yeah. So the plan is that if we can get this signed today, they will Mike will get started construction and with the idea, I mean, he'll start tomorrow.
Right.
But,
About
the
3 o'clock in the
idea,
afternoon.
the idea is we'll have it done by the end of the year. That's the plan. And so
Did you ever find out if there's any engineered plans for it?
they don't, all we've got, I've got everything that they have.
So,
And there were no actual engineered plans except for there were some drawings of the profile of the dike. But there were no engineered plans on the distance of the dike. That's the reason I got this map here that shows where the ends of the dike are. But Sean had everything in his file that they had submitted.
Is the railroad aware of everything? I mean, are they up to date?
The railroad is aware that this is being done. The railroad is not very responsive on anything, as you know. And so they haven't made any input.
So do you think we should make it clear that, what we're doing is not going to interfere with
I think,
being far enough away?
I think the facts are that we're not doing anything regarding the railroad. I mean,
yeah, I don't think so.
Nothing we're doing should impact the railroad. And, if they come in there and I don't know, if the railroad comes in and takes that road out or something, then that's a different story. But as long as that road's there, that road.
Railroad, that is a railroad.
It's a railroad road. Yeah. Not county.
You're talking about the one that runs right here beside the.
Yeah, right beside the,
Yeah, it runs
Sure.
right along beside.
probably comes in.
And that used to be a pumping station down there or something?
I don't have any idea. I don't know.
Too young to know that.
Yeah. I'll admit that one.
Me too. Anyway, here's one to sign if you're ready to sign it. So he can get it started, get it done by the end of the year.
This is lame. That's pretty lame,
What is?
that state.
Oh, yeah,
Jeez.
that's what they do.
And we had multiple options on what we were going to do, and which one are we doing?
Hey,
We're going to build the road up to the point where it's, equal to the highest point it is now.
No higher than
No higher than where it
than
is.
their
now.
existing
Okay.
dike that is there.
Okay, so we're
It
building the
probably
road
won't
up.
be that high, but yeah, definitely.
And rip wrap on both sides of the road instead of asphalt, but we're asphalt.
Asphalt at the
Right.
top.
Asphalt
riprap.
top, rip wrap sides.
there you go.
And of course, we're relocating the road
Yeah, we're moving the road a little bit.
away
We're
from
gonna straighten it up and move the corner.
with the cost of the riprap. The estimate is this will run around $132,000 in to do all this.
And he's pretty much given us part of his land to relocate.
He's given us the location. He's allowing us to take the dirt we need to build it up without any, we're not buying it and just take it. No transportation for the dirt.
Right.
It's right there. I mean, short of closing the road, this is probably the best deal.
And that, are the landowners, they've approved the location and everything, ready to go?
Yes, they've tentatively approved the location. What'll happen is we'll go out and stake where we're actually going to build it. They will sign off in writing that, yes, that location is fine. We'll take pictures of it and then they'll build.
There will be no survey or anything, we'll just sign off.
No reason to do that cost if we don't need to. So if you're ready to do it, we need a motion to enter into this agreement, and authorize Mike to proceed with the road construction.
Good. I mean, don't really have a choice other than closing it.
Got a motion?
I'll make a motion that we, enter into this agreement on the property that's stated, to raise the road.
This is Radcliffe Road, just off of,
Regains.
Gaines, yeah.
That's my motion.
Good with it, Dan?
I think it's a heck of a project not to have engineered plans on, but, I mean, it sounds like we got ourselves covered, right, Gary?
Yep.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
All right.
Got anything else for me?
Nope. You didn't cost us any money this week, so that's good.
Yeah, I figured I'd make your week.
You want, but
Thanks, Mike.
you want this, the Linn County, Kansas?
Yeah. Yeah, just sign, you sign there, print your name there, and the title.
Gary, I noticed, at least on this copy, it doesn't have an address for you on notifying Linn County. There's blank lines there.
Oh, well, we need
We
to
need
know
to
that.
write that in. You want that to be your,
No, it ought to be you.
okay,
That way, it's the official notice to the county.
okay.
Is there any updates on the Justice Center
Their, fire marshal's doing their inspection
today?
All of the applicable trades have been required to attend. It starts supposedly at 10 o'clock. We'll know more after today.
Start at 10.
If they
You
don't,
need to sign it?
Huh?
You need to sign it?
no. Oh, I guess I do, yeah. If they don't have any problems, then they'll give us a occupancy permit pretty quick. May not be today, but if they have problems, then they'll have to work through those with the contractors.
I keep hearing there's, air conditioning problems over there. Is that, you haven't heard anything?
I haven't heard anything in particular. I mean, they've,
Had to clean them a few times, I think, because of the pollen air or whatever. They've had to clean them a few times.
they've had to, yeah, they had to shut them down, and they had all these cottonwood stuff in their filters that had, during the season, and they had to shut them down and clean that out. That's the only thing I'm aware of.
Okay.
I'll ask them if there's anything. I'll find out.
Should we start talking serious with Kevin and everybody else that needs to be involved in the open house over there?
Yeah, somebody,
Didn't you say you was gonna get a hold of Larry and get the,
they have said, they have reached out to me
Right.
about doing something. What's his name that's the head of maintenance over here?
Rick Castle.
Rick Castle?
Yeah, Rick. Yeah. I know. I just can't, I can't remember her name. Rick talked to me, and he'd like to have it sooner rather than later. Like if we get the permit today, he'd like to have an open house Friday and Saturday this week. I told him I just didn't know how we could make that happen, but his idea was get the open house done before people move in, which I understand.
Well, the sheriff's gotta be involved in because he's got a whole, I think has some plans for something too, so we just need to get with him
Okay.
and the architect and River City and have all one at one time.
Day or?
Yeah. Well, whatever, yeah, whatever they just come up with.
I'll reach out to the sheriff and to, the architect
In
and
River City.
in River City, and River City's willing to do it whenever we want.
Yeah,
But we can't really do it until we get the occupancy permit.
sure.
And of course, like I say, Rick thought we should do it before people move in.
I don't think it really
I think
matters.
it'd be nice to maybe get an answer this week, be able to put it in the paper by Wednesday.
That's what I told him. I told him I thought the end of next week would be the earliest we could do it.
I don't think you'll get it because today's Tuesday. She's got,
Oh, it is Tuesday. I keep forgetting it's Tuesday.
we won't be quick.
won't.
Contacting 3 places in 3 different, no.
3 different decision makers.
Yeah.
So we'll, follow up on it anyway.
I guess now what, Missy, we got anything else? You can come ahead if you want to. We're early for you, but.
I really don't have a whole lot, this week, continuing health promotions with kids and pool stuff, and then we just need to talk over the budget again.
Yeah, so Missy and I got together last week and kind of went through her budget items, and she hasn't seen what I've worked up here yet either.
Uh-oh.
What I did was, these are the pages most departments turn in for budget.
Right,
I added another page for theirs on it, just for an income page.
right.
And I probably don't have everything completely labeled on there, but I tried to get grant amounts in and just to give me something to work with. So what I came up with, well, so what I came up with after going through that and talking to Missy was, instead of I think we had like 700 and some thousand as a budget when we talked about it before. I took that down to 540,000, which is still a pretty good increase from this year, but that increase is due to grant funding. And so it doesn't affect the tax levy. And I put one of the lines on contractual on the expenses of 120,000 in there that says would only be spent if grant money received. So that was just kind of as a reminder that we could budget up to the 540, but if we don't get some of those grants, then it wouldn't be there and be available to spend, which is just something we'll have to watch as the year goes on. And you
Right.
can let me know when, whether or not we get grants and where we're at on it. So that would still be an increase in budget of $125,105 over this year. But I don't expect this to have an effect on the levy because it's basically because of grant funding that I'm going up. And there've been multiple years in just the last few years that I've had to amend the health budget because we're always getting grants in and we haven't budgeted enough to spend them. So this would be at least my attempt on getting the budget on up there a little higher so we don't have to amend it when we get all those grants in. So I do have a few, I don't remember how many copies of this I made.
When will we know if we get the grants, Missy? Yeah.
I don't know.
They're all at different times, aren't they?
They are. Now, those big ones, those COVID grants, we will probably not get those back. They've already told us. The only new grant that I know of is a possible 25,000. But they're trying to figure out exactly how they want to divvy it up. So I don't know. You just never know. I mean, like this year, we got a $7,000 grant in March and had to have it spent by July 1st.
Yeah,
I mean,
sounds typical government.
as soon as I know, the only one I know that's a possibility right now is that 25,000. And I asked him the other day when we would know, and he said he didn't know. So I'm sorry.
Jerry, can you just go over with me, so I seen what you sent to us on our phones yesterday or whatever. The $125,000 increase, what was that mainly for? How did that come about? Is that they requested, or is that
Well, it is, but it's because of the grants.
because of the grants?
And that's why I put one line in there of like 120,000 of that wouldn't be available if we don't get, and that was just me balancing.
Is that something, so if it's not and you amend their budget, it goes into the general funds?
Now, they're a separate fund.
Okay.
So if they get grants in, it goes into the health department fund and the cash is there and available to spend. But if not, they wouldn't have enough cash probably to spend that much budget anyway, so we'd have to just watch expenses and.
Right.
So what you're saying is that the mill levy that's towards that is not going to increase.
I don't think so.
Dollars.
I don't have everything put in the state form to where I actually see the mill levies. But just looking at where they're at with expenses and the way that I'm increasing the income along with this, I would not expect this to have an effect on the mill levy.
Did you say you typically have to amend the budget to make this work?
Yeah, I mean, several years in a row, I think I have amended the health budget because we'll come in with what we think the expenses are gonna be at budget time, and then we find out later there were more grants or I find out later, I think maybe at times the health department director may have known they were coming, but we didn't get that information to me where I could put it in the budget form. So then all of a sudden we've got more money in there and we have to spend it within the grant period or we lose it and have to pay it back. So this is just.
Well, we don't have to pay it back. We shouldn't have to ever pay it back. It's just that we wouldn't get it.
Okay, we wouldn't get it. So this is my way of trying to budget higher to be able to spend that grant money, assuming that we're going to get it.
So you're saying if we don't spend it, they don't give it to you.
Right, because I had showed David how I invoice quarterly with our grants, and then after we invoice, they then mail us the check. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So we want to use it for stuff that we need in the health department.
What's the criteria that we use to go after these grants? What is our criteria? What grants we go after?
We do all the aid to local, which is like your state and FEP, and there's certain ones that we get every year. Then they will say this grant, we'll get an email that says this grant is, here's an opportunity if you want to apply for it or not. So then we decide if we want to apply for it or not.
Are you having the board help you with that decision or are you guys making that decision?
I haven't had to do any since then. These were ones that were already in effect when I came.
Right.
So yes, it would be something I would go over with them and see what their thoughts were.
Could we start getting a report as far as our monthly, as far as the services we do and the
Sure.
numbers of services just once a month?
Yeah, we have a computer system. We can just print the report out.
Print it out monthly to us. and let us
Sure.
look at it. Just
Sure.
so people can see what we're using and how many people. And
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
thank you.
That'll be an easy thing. It's really hard with grants. When David and I sat down, unless you work with them a while, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it because they start here, end here, but it's not the same. And this one starts here, but it has to be spent like this. This one you can only spend on certain stuff. So you have to really read everything very fine on what you can use it for, what you can't. So, and then the dates. I wish it was January to December, but it's all right.
It would be a lot easier for us, but I do think this gives me more to work with than I've normally had with this budget, and I think it puts us in a better shape to maybe not have to amend in next year.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you, David. I appreciate it very much.
And let your board know what David did to you. Okay.
We haven't had a board meeting in the past 2 months because there hasn't been enough to make a quorum. Just ball games and family things and vacations. So
One thing you need to keep us all informed of is when board members, some of those board members they have different terms, so we need to know that cycle.
yeah,
At the time, so
you should have that. Gary gave me the cycle.
Yeah, but Gary loses everything.
But I can't remember it.
Yeah.
I could look it up, but
you would give us a few
Yeah.
months' notice.
they're saying it's going to be your responsibility to remind them.
Oh, thank you. Well, that'll be till January.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Have a great week.
You too. Thanks.
I guess with that, do you guys tentatively approve this amount?
Sure. I don't care. I mean, I think it's fine.
Is that your motion, Rick?
No, I'm waiting for Danny. Danny's over there ciphering.
No, I'm just,
You good?
I'm good, go for it.
What's the amount?
540,000.
40,000.
I'll make a motion that we tentatively approve the health budget for $540,000.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
I did have a call this morning from Brenda Connor, wanting to get on the agenda, and I told her agendas had already gone out, but I think she's planning on coming in somewhere around 10 and, oh, she's here. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see you sitting there.
You want to come ahead, Brenda?
I have a bunch of complaints.
Okay.
I'm really sorry, but I have come to you when I called both of you and
Rick?
and about the streets and stuff in Centerville and the trees.
And where's it, the streets?
Centerville.
In Centerville.
In Centerville.
Okay.
I asked last year if they would come in and mow them and they always done this before because it is unincorporated and the people don't, there's a lot of empty plots and stuff in town. And then there's some people that just don't take care of their stuff. And we have been infested by animals. We have a family of foxes that have destroyed 30 chickens for one person and a turkey, 7 chickens and 3 ducks, and 20 chickens and several ducks.
Now, they got mowed last summer, right? I mean, when you called me, they went up and took care of it then.
Well, they done part of it, but the one that I really wanted done, they didn't do and everything. And I have took pictures. May I
Yeah, you
approach you
can.
with them? I have took pictures of the problem and tried to label them for you can see. This is 2nd Street. And this is growing clear out into the street and these trees, and this is the intersection, and you can't see.
So they haven't mowed it this summer, is what you're saying?
They haven't mowed it at all. And then, see how it just comes out? There's 2 properties, and this is my biggest complaint is that we bought a house several years ago on the tax auction sale. And the lady that had it she just kind of squatted in it, but she brought stuff down and stored in it. And it was jam-packed. You couldn't even walk in it without shoving something. We mowed and had everything cleaned around, but Mr. Young, I believe that was what his name was, he sent me a registered letter and told me that I only had 5 days to get it tore down, cleaned up or whatever, because it was a hazard. Okay, so we took care of it and everything, but we have 2 houses in town that, well, here's one of them. My pictures went in order, but anyway.
Hey, Randy, would you ask Darren, he's our codes guy, to come in here? In case we have a question. I appreciate that.
What happens, Gary, is like some of these trees, I've looked at that last summer and there's trees are actually on the property owner, but the limbs are coming out.
And see this on this, now this is on Market Street. This is the main drag.
Nobody lives here, right?
No, they have
So-
for years and everything.
If trees are on private property, but they're intruding on the street or the
You
road.
can take our boom mower and mow back as far
yeah.
as just to the property line or?
Right, well, yeah, we normally would not go on the property and take the tree down. We would
We have it.
trim it back to the property line typically.
Do you think that our road
Brenda.
guys, or do you think they might be?
So on this house,
Incorporated
do you know
town,
the
and
owner?
they're supposed to do that?
So is
We've
they
done it
live
before, I
there?
mean, we mowed it
Do they
last
live in
summer, maybe
Centerville?
we didn't get a hold of them.
So
We need to make sure they do know
Right
what they can
this
do.
house that- It's like on a dead end street and everything, and it's right here on the corner. And then there's a little drive, and then there's another house over here, and they've got 3 little kids. And they've offered to buy it several times, but they won't sell it, but they
Okay,
won't
so-
come
okay.
and do anything either.
Okay, so let's look into that. We'll have him look into it. If it needs to be
You
condemned,
should need to fill out a complaint form.
yeah,
within 14
Brenda,
days.
before you leave, you're here for a reason. Go see Darren and fill out a complaint form, and we'll go out there and look at that property and see if it needs to be condemned or not. Okay?
Well, and
Yeah,
then there's.
and I can check all that information.
Okay.
See if it-
All right.
So last year when I asked you about the one, they came up to this property, because this is another property in town. And the county came up, and here is the house. You can just barely see it.
She'll fill out another form for that.
You can barely see it. But anyway, the county came up and they cut the trees. But
That's
they,
south of the church, right?
yes,
Yes, I know where you're talking
they,
about.
they,
This is yours?
Yeah.
they cut
Damn.
they cut the trees and they piled the brush in the drive.
Right.
And now those foxes are there. And it runs right up. I mean, look at this. This is disgusting.
You want me to kill the foxes? Is that what
Would
you
you?
want?
I called.
No.
I called the game warden and asked them if they'd come and trap them and relocate them. And they said they don't do that.
Yeah.
And everything. Well, but he told me, he says, now you can shoot it, but make sure it's got your animal in its mouth. Now, how am I gonna do that?
I don't know. You gotta be slick, I guess.
But look at this. This thing, this property is completely like this. This is more, I mean, I have tons of pictures. But anyway, my place didn't look nothing like this. It was completely mowed. It was just an old unpainted house that this lady had mattresses upstairs standing on their ends. We couldn't even get the door open. My husband fell, he said, I can't get up there.
Right.
And he gave me 5 days to get it cleaned up. And we've turned this in several times and they won't do anything about it.
Have you turned it in to Darren?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Mr.
We're finally gonna have some codes, codes codes.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
one next
But
week.
So fill out the forms. I got
I'll
you.
get a hold of Harry, or not Harry, but I'll see that we can get back up there and mow it. I thought we mowed it last year.
And I don't know the situation, but it could be a little bit of, confusion since it's, Centerville's unincorporated. And maybe they don't know it's supposed to be on their route and supposed to take care of it. And they just go do it whenever we give a complaint to them about it. So I think that might be something we look into, don't you think?
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
well, see, the guy that retired, he always came in and mowed it and everything. And then ever since he's been retired, I have to call.
Yeah, but he only mowed around the streets, right?
He mowed around the streets and he mowed the ditch, and then he'd take the boom thing and he would
Mow
move
the-
everything
okay.
back to their fence
Okay.
and everything. But that hasn't been done for.
Okay.
And that's
Jim's gonna make it happen.
I'll see what I can get done.
okay. Now,
And I'll give Jim's phone number to you. You got
I
it?
think she's got it. She's got my number.
Well, say,
But anyway, then my second thing is,
That was just the first?
That was the easy part, or?
that was the first one. My second one is that I don't understand how this all works. I drive a school bus, I have for 40 years, and I have had the same route. I have to call all the time and ask for, when it rains and I have low water bridges, it washes the end off because the water goes over. The last time, I had to stop leave my kids on the bus and move the tree off of the low water bridge so they can go across. Why doesn't somebody come out and check the low water bridges and the places? So, I mean, I don't have to do this. I'm not supposed to get off my bus. But I can't get across the road because I think, okay, this is just the first day that it's down off of the bridge, so I'll give it a day or two. So I give it, like the middle of the week, and then I take it, I have to call that lady and say, will you send them out?
So it lasts more than one day, is what you're saying? I mean,
Yeah, it lasts almost a week before.
Okay.
so nobody else drives across it in that week? Just you?
I guess I'm the only one that complains, but
No, but I mean, nobody drives across the low water crossing with the tree over it, but you?
I don't know.
I mean, is there,
6:30 in the morning, so
I know, but you said it was there for several days, so
the water is over.
yeah,
And then when it goes over on the south end
Right.
of the bridge, it washes the road away from the bridge.
right. But you said,
Nobody calls and takes and says anything about it, so I bounce over it. And then after I do that, 3 or 4 days, I call down here and ask if somebody will come out and fix it
okay,
and everything. But I I mean, when the.
Well, when you turn that in, there is a log there and we can take a look and see what's going on.
Yeah,
And we
well,
can- It's logged.
I called and talked to her
Okay.
several times about it.
Okay.
Then there's on 1700 Road, there's two bridges there, and the road is 1700 is Blacktop Road that goes from 1077 to number 7.
Okay.
And when you go on those bridges, they're not even with the road, and it bounces, and it sets the alarms off of those. I mean, it don't matter whether you're driving 55 mile an hour across it, and it will set those. I mean, they're so rough, it sets the alarms. Isn't that rough on the bridges? I mean, shouldn't they be where it's even and you don't have to bounce like that? Because it'll set my alarms off. And they don't, not only mine, because there's 2 or 3 other buses that goes down there. And
Is the bridge higher than the road or lower than the road?
I think the road is higher than the bridge. Because on the one, they put a bunch of black stuff on it, but they made it up too high. And it bounces you. And then, just this week, I was down on 300 Road, and when I was 300 and number 7, and I came across from the west going south, and I had to get clear out in the intersection to take and see past the trees.
That is the state highway department where you're talking about. I know exactly. And I have talked to him about that and I'll see what I'll get it. I'll talk to him again.
I mean, and I really don't understand why no one takes and cuts the trees back.
See, that where you're talking about is on state highway right away. Ours is the 300 road. And he's been good. He's worked with us a few times and I'll talk to him again about that intersection.
There's another one, 1900 in Baskerville. It's fine if you're in a car, but when you're in a bus and you're up high, there's a hedge road that goes to the north, and they'll cut right at the corner, but they won't cut back far enough. And then there's a tree right out in the ditch that you can't see at all.
1900 and what?
1900 in Baskerville.
Fast.
Do you ever call in to Joyce and put in a work order or anything like that?
Yeah, sometimes I think she gets tired of talking.
The 1900 you reported,
That's the case.
1700 road, and then you said 300 road. I know where you're talking about, the 300. I travel that road. I know.
But,
where.
I mean, it's just, and I have even called in, well, I told you that they're on the curve, south or north of Centerville, the trees were hanging out, so.
We fixed that, didn't we?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
It snaps your meters, but why don't they, I mean, I know that they're busy, but why doesn't somebody go by and trim those and get those out of
Because there's 650 miles of road in the county and
and you have the same thing. See, I was having an operation this week and I got put on back order. So I know what that's,
so our guys are working hard.
We've tried
without
to
a
clean up
doubt.
some places, and I think we've
Yeah.
helped, some, but I know we have other things.
this, I mean, the Fox thing is and these places that, I mean, we mow like 2 full lots that ain't even ours. And everything.
What is that on, how does that work with Fox being on somebody's property like that? Is it nothing you can?
Call an exterminator. I mean, if I've got something like that on my property, about all I could do is call an exterminator or take them out myself.
Well, we tried life trapping them, and they are really smart. They won't come in for nothing. I mean, we put one of the dead chickens that they hardly ate, and we put that in there. They didn't come. But the one lady, she's got a little 2-year-old girl, and it was 9:30, and they were out and they had let their chickens out, and they was in the yard, and the fox came running and ran right through between her and the little girl and grabbed the chicken and took off. She was scared to death. I mean, it's just, they're not afraid. They just run and grab you and go.
Right.
And I mean, you pay a lot of money for those things. But those two, I mean, and they are living in those 2 places because we've seen them go in there.
If you could destroy their habitat, that might help.
But that's on somebody's property.
That's
It's a
what I'm
brush
saying.
pile on somebody's
But
property.
it's our brush pile. We put it on there.
Did we?
Isn't that what she said?
Yeah, but it's in the house. I'll tell you what you're thinking.
No.
Well,
It's in the brush pile too, right?
Yeah, they're everywhere. And there's.
No. But you said the brush pile, that's where some of them were living. Is that
There's some-
correct?
There's some of them there. There's some of them I mean, that thing is so brushy, you can't even see the shed and the house
Okay.
and everything. But the people that have it's in a inheritance thing. It's horrible,
Okay.
but it's in an inheritance thing and they live in the city. And it was on the tax thing, but they got enough money to put together to take and to pay the taxes back far enough to take it off.
Yeah, our guys will look at the house problem and see if it's,
And if that's our brush pile, we can
if it is, I don't, why would we pile some
talk to them.
brush on a private property?
request it.
Okay.
Put it there.
All right, thank you.
But-
And they'll mow the streets?
I'll talk to them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thanks, Brenda.
We're going
Randy just had to run over to the judicial center. I don't know if he's going through with the fire marshal or what. but
Oh.
He said to let him know when we're ready for executive session.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a part of that, walkthrough.
oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We got Darren then?
I guess we can go to Darren if he's here.
He's probably watching.
Quick comms coming back, I guess.
Yeah, and we went ahead and cut that check in today's bills for the 90%, just holding back 10 because they had contacted us and said they'd accept that. So I think they're coming in today to kind of finalize
Well, yeah, we need, I've got the contract here for you to sign,
yeah.
and,
And I have their check setting here too.
Good morning, Darren with Planning and Zoning.
Do you see these?
you gonna cover it, or you want me to cover it?
I don't care.
Go ahead.
I think it's the consensus of the Planning and Zoning Board that we want to put the zoning regulations out to bid, and have them updated. And that's why I put this together to bring before you.
What guidance are you providing this company that we hire?
Pardon me?
You want the zoning regulations updated, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what guidance are we giving them when it comes time to update it? What are we telling them we want? We want Johnson County regulations, or what do we
No,
want?
I think we're just looking right now for somebody to come in and help us go through and go over what we've already got and maybe bring them more up to date.
That's where my point is.
Yeah.
What is up
What
to-
is up
what-
to date?
What is
are
up
we
to
wanting
date?
To do as far as,
We requiring that everybody turn in everything for a permit for every time they fix their house or repair their house, or,
So there's a lot of stuff that's being missed out there. Like, I met with Kathy in the appraiser's office. We don't charge for an ag building, but a
Right.
permit's not filled out. I think we need to start having permits filled out so we at least know stuff's going on in the county. Because if not, by the time they make their rounds, tax money's been missed for 3 or 4 years.
well, in general, you said just what you just said, this ag buildings are not, there's no charge for an ag building. You just need a permit.
Need a permit.
So what happens when they don't? That's the question. Is there a,
you get to pay the tax on the ag building, he said there's no
They find it through.
cost
Right,
for the
there-
permit.
There's no repercussion from it other than the county's not collecting taxes on that
Right.
building for however many years it is before they go out and see that it's built.
all right,
Keep in mind that this is a request for proposal. This isn't a bid.
I know.
And so what we're asking these companies to do is say, look at our county and propose what we need in terms of update. That's what we're really asking here, and tell us what it would cost.
I'm kind of, my question is, how far do we take this? I mean, when they do, what if they come back with the regulations for Johnson County or Miami County? Is that what Linn County wants, I guess, is my question.
Well, I think it's something that we all need to sit down and discuss and come to a consensus of where we want to go. Because I mean, I agree, you could get too far gone and be ridiculous about it. But there's some stuff that we do, like we inspect foundations for, mobile homes. But foundations for houses aren't inspected. I think we need to get something that's across the board for everything. I'm not saying go to the extent of doing inspections for a complete house.
Who's qualified to do inspections for foundations? You?
Well, yeah,
You are?
I can look at them. I mean, I know what rebar and stuff and foundation's supposed to look like.
Is there a requirement for,
There's no requirement. There are training courses he can take to get certified as a inspector, that kind of thing.
And there are some requirements in our codes for like the mobile homes. It's got to be so many feet, so many pieces of rebar in it.
okay. I know, you guys wanted, the planning, said you guys, the planning and zoning has brought this up several times, and, I don't personally have a problem with it, but I would hope that Jim, because he's going to be here, and Danny's going to be here, one of those two, would be able to sit with the company that we hire and the planning and zoning to talk about the issues that,
And that's,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
the direction that we're going. And
Okay.
in doing this, we're not going to hold the comprehensive plan up. I think it's the consensus that we are going to move forward with that. We'd put some suggestions and questions together for Jennifer, because we had a workshop and went through the whole thing. And we come up with some questions and some suggestions that we'd like to see changed. We sent that off to her. We were supposed to meet with her last week, and she got diagnosed with COVID. So we had to cancel the meeting. So we're waiting to find out when she can come back and speak to us about it.
Does her company do this?
Her company does do that. They gave us a generic one.
A sample on
Yeah.
a couple areas.
Yeah.
So what would you do? Go out to a few companies for a proposal of what it costs to do, have,
I've talked to Miami County and got a few names. I talked to Franklin County and got a few names.
So what would their job description be? Take our current regulations, look them over, give us, compare and contrast to other counties our size and see where we need to be? Kind of what,
see,
Would you feel better if we went through here and made it clear that the kinds of limitations that we want, that as they prepare their proposal, they keep in mind that we don't want to go to building codes, for example.
Right.
maybe if they just would meet with the planning and zoning and one of the commissioners, I don't think that's wrong at all, to just get it out there, because I know you guys have pretty much a 90% focus on what we want, but we're trying to protect the public. And Darren too, you think about it, we just talked about the, going out and inspecting the septic tanks, right?
Right.
So that doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're trying to coordinate a septic pump guy to come out and do it, and you to come do it on the same day at the same time, and getting the other groups of the buyers and the sellers together, or at least their agents, to be out all on site at one time just for you to walk out and say it's good or not good.
Right.
So other counties, some other counties, not all, but a few other counties, I will say, because I haven't went out to the 104 others, and they allow a certified company to go through and say, we're certifying this company right here to do inspections for Linn County, and to mail that receipt back to the county saying it's certified as good, or repairs were made if it wasn't. And these are the repairs that were made. So when you start talking about these regulations, keep in fact that, you're talking about going and inspecting houses or buildings or whatever you come up with, that means you will be there every time.
Right.
And then we're not hiring it. I'm leaving, but I don't think we're ready to hire other people or engineers or any
Right.
anything that's required for that.
Can I-
Sure.
You know, part of this is we look at the code, the regulations, and some of those haven't been touched since 1997.
Right.
It's 25 years ago. And we need, to Gary's point, we really need to have somebody just put an RFP out there and say, what do you think? What do you think we need to do? And then it's back to us and commissioners to decide where we want to go with this. Do we want to do A, B, and C that they mentioned, or drop off, the 2 or 3 that we don't like? I think we just need to, this is an iterative process.
Just put another set of eyes on it. It's what you're saying, that somebody that's expert at what we're doing and give us some ideas, and then we can pick and choose what we want
Now,
as
the
far as.
motion in the room is all the regulations that we really need to control what we have with solar and wind, energy in the county. And that, to me, that's a big part of it, because that's the real light. I mean,
Okay.
everybody's got an opinion on that, and the commission, the planning and zoning commission really gets caught in the crosshairs on that. And we would really like somebody to take a look at that and see what we need. I went through the, and I'm not a layperson, just like David Berman said the other day, we're not experts on this, although we're probably more expert than those people. But I went through the draft that this company we're working with gave us,
Mhm.
and it's just full of holes. I mean, there's just too many issues that aren't even issues that aren't even looked at in what they gave us. It just needs to be more comprehensive. But I think that's what we would get from the RFP. Tell us that, and we can move forward from there.
I don't have a problem going out. I mean, I do if we get somebody
So when
to
we'll,
go out for bids to see what it'd take, right? I mean, you see, get us some ideas.
Yeah, just mainly some consulting.
Yeah, you mean go out for, just a request for information first and then get a proposal put together, send it out to the companies. So they're probably not gonna, each company's gonna come back with a different description of what they think we need.
Right.
We have to have somebody else give us the information that we want to know. Like a RFP, like you said, so,
Right.
or RFI, request for information, so.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Too.
All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. That's it. Nothing else? Any codes, courts,
Yeah.
got a schedule?
Yep.
Scheduled for a week from
3 or 4?
Thursday. We have filed 9 cases. I think we have service on 7 of them so
So
far.
you have to sit in on all those, or do you?
I think we have service on 7 of them. Some of them we always have trouble finding some, but,
Sure.
but
Okay.
we're set to go.
Thanks, Aaron, for the work. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And probably in a couple of weeks, I want to bring the lift stations, a deal that I've been working on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. You want to go to Morgan now, or you want to wait on quick?
Yeah, we're going to need
Nobody's-
legal executive say at some point for about, I don't think it'll take too long.
We've got 2 or 3 different personnel issues.
Oh, do you? Okay. I'm going to need legal for probably 15 minutes to cover a couple things that you need some advice on. If you want to go ahead and sign this grant agreement, we can do that. Or if you want to wait till they get here.
No, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it.
We're the ones that wanted it.
We got our 10% held back, is what you said.
Yeah. This is
That was in the
revised
bills, wasn't it?
agreement.
That's what that money was in the bills. Yeah.
This is the revised agreement, and they have already signed it. So if you want to sign it.
Where'd our guy go? Anyway. This is a grant agreement with Qualcomm on their communications. We had asked for them. They wanted the full amount up front, and we said, no, we want the whole 10% back. Is what we negotiated down to. And so it's my motion that we enter into this grant agreement holding 10% of the $580,000 back. That's my motion.
I'll second it. Wonder where he's at.
Wait for the book.
It matter, wait till he gets.
Just say yes, Danny.
It's been moved and seconded on the quick com. All in favor?
Aye. There we go.
They're not coming in now, or?
They are, but if you got this already signed, we can hand it to them.
Agreed to it.
With 10%.
They're on 10%.
That you right there? What else you got?
Like I said, I need about 15 minutes of executive session for legal issues. And then David needs how long for personnel?
What do you think of the first, probably 20? I think we've got some issues we need to talk about.
Oh. You say 20?
Probably 20 for personnel. Gary, do we need Randy to come back over for some of that? No, I don't think so. I just handle it.
I'll have it.
It's more important that we get this inspection.
Yeah. So with this agreement, I'm okay to go ahead and give him that and myself a copy of this.
Right, and if you would make me a copy as well, or send me a copy.
So I guess we'll go into executive session for legal with Gary for 15 minutes, then with David and Morgan for 20 minutes for personnel.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Brandon, how you doing?
But don't need budget, do you?
What?
That I'm aware of, do you want a copy of it just for your? Sure. I usually, when I'm having trouble.
You got to turn this on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good, good. No action from executive sessions, so guess we're gonna talk budgets.
So I sent you a copy of the employee benefit this weekend with its increase. I brought copies over that have all the backup information attached. So what I'm looking at now would be a $618,500 increase in employee benefits.
And that's no choice? Is that what you're saying?
What'd you just say? You say 618
Yes,
increase?
yes.
Have we added anything? What, can you go over that real quick with
Yeah,
us?
I will. And
I'm sorry.
there are multiple reasons for that.
Okay.
Of course, the biggest single thing is the health insurance. We had a huge increase there.
Okay.
That was like a 25% increase in our costs. And if you look at that, that pretty much is the equivalent of the increase. There's some other line items that went back and forth. The capers, I was actually able to drop a little bit because the capers employer percentage is going down next year. FICA, I had to go up. And those are strictly dependent on salaries because they are percentages of salaries.
So if we look at the second page, is that what we're looking at now?
Well,
Where it says workman's comp and all that?
First,
well, any of that would work.
Oh, I see.
We do have more employees now than we used to have, and that's driving a lot of this budget. We have increased quite a bit to cover the new building here, which a lot of those people have been hired this year. They're already working, but they weren't really here for all of this year. We've been hiring through the first several months to where we're up to pretty much what would be a full staff now, but next year I have to budget benefit for a whole year on those people. So that's part of what's driving it up. Unemployment, I went ahead and bumped a little bit, and part of that is because I have not seen our new rates yet. But I know we have had some claims over the last couple of years, and I'm afraid it will go up some. So I went ahead and bumped it up a little higher than this year. And budget wise, it was 6,000, but it's actually up about 12,000 over what we're spending this year. I don't know when I'll get those rates. They typically come in the summer for the following year, but I have not seen them yet. So I'm just trying to be safe on that one and bump it up a little. Work comp. I did, one of the pages you have in there is where I go through and do the estimate on work comp. I did put in a little bit of a percentage increase there, just expecting that one maybe to go up some because we have had some work comp claims too. But again, the increase in salary is what drives a lot of that because those are percentages of salaries.
Okay.
Coming on down through that, short-term disability is up a bunch on budget. However, it's not up much from what we're spending this year. And that is one we got caught up in the hiring all these extra people and having to spend more. And I didn't budget enough for that for this year.
Okay.
The life and cancer, we actually got some of that with a different company on the life part of it. We got that cost down a little bit. Deferred comp, slight increase in the budget amount. Pretty substantial increase over what we're spending this year. But at open enrollment this year, it was my understanding we had several more people sign up for deferred comp and we've got the 2% match. So I'm trying to cover that. HSA again going up because of additional people. So, I mean, that's the big changes on it. But I said the health insurance is the major factor that made that jump way up. I don't know any way to get around that. If you look through some of the backup pages I've got there, you'll see what I calculated on it. I did, now that would be one thing if you wanted to gamble a little bit. I did put in like a 10% increase for next year's renewal on health insurance.
Obviously, at this point, I have no idea what that's gonna be. I usually do that just to allow for some, and I had done that in this year's, and then we got hit with a bigger one.
Yeah.
Several years lately, I've budgeted more than we needed there, so we had a positive on that. I don't really know where else I would go to make
Okay.
any adjustments on this. I did, just for the calculations, do another one of these sheets where I work up all those estimates with the big cost of living increase included in it to see what it would do. And if you notice at the bottom of this page, I put a note down there, a 5% COLA would increase the benefit budget by 57.5 and would add approximately 278,000 to the other budgets. So that's what I calculated off another one of these sheets where I put in a 5% just to see how I would bump those numbers up.
And how close are we to putting everything together?
With this and the health today, I have everyone's numbers now, so now I've got to put it all in the form. I will try to get you some type of estimate by next Monday's meeting on where we're at on mill levy, but I've got to get it in the form to calculate all that.
So as far as our ARPA funds, can we not, do you think, can we utilize that for that and the COLA? Because I know there was a line item on the pages she gave us at one time about, just giving out money to each employee.
I think we could use some of those funds, which would short-term solve a problem. Now, long-term, if our costs are up that much year after year, it's not going to help us down the road. But it could maybe soften this a little bit for next year if you wanted to use some of those funds for it.
I would. I mean, we only have 2 years to use it. And
Yeah.
we don't really have, what I would say, a bunch of people begging to, has good ideas. I mean, we have an organization that wants money.
Right. I think it'd be.
I think that's
Take
something
care
we
of
can
us
look
first.
at, and
And what would that go towards? What would qualify for? The ARPA money would qualify for what categories?
Health insurance and COLA?
Will it qualify for health insurance?
I don't know the rules enough on that to know.
Surely we could relate that to COVID.
I mean, from what I
I think
understood,
Jessica was gonna reach out.
she was going to reach out to the SEK people and check in with them. My understanding when we got into a lot of that with the ARPA funds is the way we designated the funds as was it a lost income or something? It pretty much opened it up to where we could use it for about anything we wanted to.
Or then we fight our stance on it, which would be health insurance.
So say we could use it for health funds. What amount would you be suggesting? Will we go back to 2022's 1.6 million, or
Well, I'm
knock it
afraid,
down that far for this
I'm afraid
next
we'd
year?
get ourselves in trouble in
For
long
the
run.
following
So
years, right?
maybe just have
Half?
like a couple 100,000 or something there just to soften it a little this year.
Okay.
I don't know. Some of that's going to get into just playing with the numbers and where we
So
come
you
out.
think if we utilize it all, it'll be too hard to catch back up and.
Well, I think then a year from now, we're
Yeah,
going to
you're
be
gonna
sitting here
kill
saying, okay, now I got to go up this much anyway, because, if we could soften it from year to year a little bit and balance it out if we,
Well, you'd have to eat it all in 1 year, then
Yeah.
it gets caught back up if it continued to rise.
so as long as we don't get something saying that that's not a permissible use, you want me to look into putting some more of that income in there then to, 'cause
Yeah.
it really wouldn't change the budget amount. What it would change is the income in that fund, which would require less tax to fund that budget.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah. So like you got budgeted 2.25 million for the health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could get it to like 1.9 something, would that be okay? Because if you look at the past years prior to that, it hasn't really gone up that much.
No, we had a bunch of good years in a row.
Yeah.
Which really, we were getting spoiled by it because
Is it because of claims, right?
It is,
Like
yeah.
it's claims we got.
and it's not only our claims, it's industry-wide
Right.
claims this affect too. But we have had some bad claims in the last couple of years, is why we jumped that much. But we had, 3 or 4 years in a row that our increases on
More
health
than that.
insurance were
Seemed like good, yeah.
were like from nothing to maybe 5%, and industry standards through that have been more like 10 or 12% every year anyway. So truthfully, we're just kind of catching up to industry with this big jump this year. It just hit us all at once.
Now, everybody that was in our health insurance went up that much. in our group.
in our group, like overall, that's how,
All of Blue Cross is there? Well, not, some of it is specific to our county group, but there's a balance there because they spread it out over their whole group. So, yeah, a big part of it was just Blue Cross's business is up, and some of that is costs are up too. So even with the same claims, you're paying more for them. But it's also, there was an effect on it because we've had some big claims in our group.
So it falls back on your group even though
Yeah,
your
it
percentage.
does.
Okay.
But it's a balance between the two when they figure the rates. But we've had, is it 5 different individuals, I think, that went over stop loss in the last year. And that's where there's a stop loss amount for each employee's coverage. Up to that amount, it's county money paying the claims. Once it goes over that, it starts costing Blue Cross money. And we've had like 5 people that have hit that in the last year. So when it costs them their more money, they're going to raise our rates and charge us more for it.
gotcha.
Now, if we can have a couple of good claims years, there's a chance we could get this back down some, but it's a lot harder to come back down on rates than it is to go up.
You think, or 5%, what's national average, 8, 9?
Well, it costs the CPI is up in the 8% or a little higher. I put in a 5 to get a number to work with.
What did we do last year, 3?
Never done 5, I don't think.
No,
We have.
we've never gone more than 3 in any year that I remember. In some years we've done 1 or 2 or nothing.
But we never had a year like this either.
No, but I think
What's the percentage off of, as far as your increase off the benefits? I mean,
the
percentage wise total. Have you figured out as far as how much more it's gonna cost us for benefits
for what?
for the year? Percentage wise, what we're budgeting this year versus last year, percentage wise, how much of an increase?
Well, the way I've got this one in there is 18.62%.
18%.
Yeah.
Increase in benefits.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going, if you were talking with cost of living or without, or,
No, without cost.
yeah, the way it is right now, it's 18.62 is the increase. We also need to figure out pretty quickly what you want to do on cost of living, because we got to put that in the budget.
If you have have an opportunity next week to throw some numbers at us, maybe you can do one with and one without, and then.
And that'll be pretty easy to do once I get everything put in the state budget form, because it would take more than that by the time I put it in all the departments. But I've got a dollar amount here that I know about what it would be. I could just put that in one line item and see how much it affects levies.
I definitely think that we should utilize ARPA funds and get between a 5.
So if you did that, yeah, I agree. For this year, just don't get carried away with like you were talking about. So if you look at that number there at 2225, how much would you be willing to sacrifice for that ARPA's? Would it be 300,000 or
Well,
280, 270?
it just depends on how much we need to spread it out. I wouldn't look at changing that 2.225 number. What I would do is add income into that fund from ARPA so that the tax dollars required would be down,
Gotcha.
because I still need to have the budget.
But how much would you add to it? That's what I'm saying.
I would hate to go more than 3,
Okay.
250 to 3, somewhere in that range probably. But that's at 3, that's almost $1 million in tax dollars.
Yeah.
So you're saying a 5% COLA is gonna raise it 300 and some thousand as far as the mill, right?
It would because you'd be looking at over 50,000 on the benefits budget, and then 278,000.
What'd you say mill was what?
A mill this coming year is going to be about 320,000.
Wow.
Because that's
That's
just
raising
based
it over a
on,
mill just to take care of it.
yeah.
But if you can lower it with the ARPA money, offset it or whatever you want to call it.
Do we have to figure in cost of living? Can we just go and use ARPA funds for that instead and not
No.
budget for it?
I bet you can.
There's been other counties that gave out checks to their employees.
Yeah, I know some of them did. And I don't know.
I just definitely think we should take care of the employees with this ARPA fund, take care of us first, and then look at applications after that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You're saying not give them a raise, just give them a lump sum.
I mean, if it's going to cause it could be over our tax levy or.
Which is better, David?
I kind of hate to see the lump sums.
Is it affects their taxes and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I would rather see it as a cost of living or maybe even a combination maybe, but I would hate to just go here's a lump sum one time and not change the salary because I don't think your cost of living is going to go back down. Now, it may come back down some, but you know, that's kind of like these health insurance rates. Once these prices have gotten up here, we may see things come down, but they're probably not coming back to where they were before.
Down there as fast as they go up.
Well, and if you look at it this way too, at least I'm thinking that if you did it the way you were talking about initially and put the 300,000, it kind of takes care of all still take care of the employee
Mhm.
and everything about it. It's just that,
When you start boiling it down to the mill levies, whether we put it in the benefits fund or in the salaries or wherever it goes, it's going to be the same amount coming off our mill levy because,
that's what I'm concerned about.
so you think maybe up to like 300,000 of ARPA funds?
I'm okay with that. What about you? I mean, you
If
got,
we gotta make sure we can do it first. I mean,
Yeah.
And Jessica's not here today, so I don't know if she's found out anything on that. I'll see what I can find out there.
that'd be perfect.
And let's see, we received more money again this year from ARPA. We received our half last year. We received some more this year. But then I think, don't we have like 3 or 4 years to spend it?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years, I think.
It's like another year or so
Something
longer
like
than
that.
when we received it.
Yeah.
So I'll try to get with her and I'll do some checking on what we can and can't do and what the time
And
period.
who knows, you may be able to do it this year and the following year.
Yeah.
Which would help.
save some of it for next year.
Yeah.
And if you notice, I mentioned a purchase order toward the bottom of this.
Now you slip that in or we didn't see that.
Well, it's right there above the bold line toward the bottom there. I said that includes a $150,000 PO in December of 2022. This is typically what we do if we don't spend all the benefits budget in a year. We'll do a purchase order to help pay for the health insurance the next year.
Okay.
So I've already calculated 150, and that is based on what I went through on these other pages, what we've spent so far this year, what I'm projecting we spend the rest of the year. I believe we will have over 150,000 left in this budget at the end of 2022, so we'll have that money to transfer. Last year at this time, I put a 150 in there, and we ended up doing better the rest of the year on health insurance than we had in the first part, and we ended up having 300,000. So that is helping us now because we got more cash in there than we would have had without it. But you never know when you're going to get those big claims and when they come through. So I budget for the maximum expense on the health insurance every year, hoping that we don't have to use it, but some years we do.
Like on our health insurance, if we're like proactive on like gym memberships and things like that, does that help any?
It doesn't give you any reduction in your rate now. The idea would be if you can get your people to be healthier, that their claims will go down, and over a period of a few years, it should help you on claims. Now, whether it does or not, I don't know, and I'm not sure how you'd measure it because there's other factors that can come in. But that's some of why we started like the wellness program to begin with, was try to get people where they're getting their blood work done every year so they know, if they get diabetes or something and can get out in front of it before it gets bad. And we do have most people doing that kind of stuff now, so you would think that would help us long term. But Blue Cross is not giving us any discount for doing that.
Right.
So anyway, that's where I'm at the moment. I start doing township and city budgets tomorrow, so it's probably going to be.
We have no say on township budgets though.
No, it's not up to us. I just help do the budget form for them. They come in and tell me what they need, and I put it in the form, and they
That's just,
charge them.
it's like in uncharted waters for, they just, you tax it all the way out to
Yeah.
our max.
We got started doing the budgets like that. Well, actually, before I was clerk, when Don was still clerk.
Right.
there used to be someone at the state level that would come around and do all those little budgets, and they'd charge them, and they kept going up on what they charged. So I sat in with them one year when they were doing that, and then I started doing it when I worked for Dawn, and we charge them, but we charge less than what even they did then. I'm charging the townships $30 to do their budget, which if I can do the whole thing in an hour, then it probably about balances out, but most of them I can. And then like the smaller cities, I do a lot of the work on theirs, and we charge them $50 to do them. But it's really cheap for them to get them done that way, and they don't have to pay a CPA or somebody from the state to come in and do it. That would charge them a lot more. So
I learned quite a bit about that when we had to appoint someone for our county, for my district. And just knowing that they pretty much can do whatever they want. with
Oh,
the
yeah, they
budget.
can. I mean, we have no control. They do. Now, there are some constraints just by what the statutes say.
And they donate so much of that to different,
They do,
and just,
yeah.
come on, if you're not
Now,
going to use it.
the one up in your area does way more of that than most of the others do. But they're also the ones who have the power plant in their township, and they get to reap those benefits like we do at the county level.
Right.
So it's a very low mill levy for what they're doing.
Yeah. No, I don't say they don't do good. It's just,
Yeah.
they can pretty much do it.
But anyway, with all these other smaller budgets I'm gonna be working on this week, it's probably gonna be this weekend before I get to a whole lot of the county one in the form to. So I wouldn't expect having any numbers to you before next Monday.
Okay.
So do you want to tentatively approve this one with this amount too?
Make a motion to tentatively approve the employee benefit funds budget for $3,941,000.
That was hard to say. Lynn. I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
It was hard for me to get it ready to pick that number in there too. I'm not used to seeing it that high, but.
Do we need, are we waiting until next week? Did we decide action or no action from,
I think so.
we're waiting?
Yeah. All right, well, I think that's all I have today then. We're actually getting done sooner than I thought we would.
You guys got anything?
No.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.